This guy writes, I don't know how to help my wife come to grips with the state of our sex life, married less than a month. So he's 30, she's 29. So that kind of sucks. It's already having problems. But what you'll often find is when there's no spark or no sexual attraction, you're probably not making her feel sexy. And so a lot of guys just have like shame or whatever associated to talking about sex. And so because of that barrier, they don't like say like, holy shit, your boobs look fucking amazing tonight. Or just have like this huge thing that's just like makes her feel totally sexy or special. Or you slap her butt just to tease her and then you just kind of walk away and then don't do anything to build that anticipation up. And then she's like, well, what happened? And then it's like, you just tease her throughout the day in kind of a sexual way if you're in like a marriage or a long-term relationship. Don't do this as far as like beginning stages of dating or anything, but it's like in those long-term marriage situations, it's so important for her to feel like she's sexy and wanted and sexually desired. If you aren't doing that, her attraction and her just willingness or her mood isn't going to really be up to par in what it really needs to be in order to have a good sexual experience. Also, it's important to know that you have to lead up to like a whole experience that leads to a moment of sex, usually at the end, compared to what guys often feel just naturally is like, oh, I'm just outcome driven and I can basically be turned on and I can have sex right away. And so it's like, well, sometimes guys set up sex way too quickly. They just go for the outcome, say like, oh, let's have sex kind of deal. Whereas what they need to do sometimes is build up that anticipation, kind of what I was talking about. Just kind of tease her a little bit throughout the day and then just let her know that she's gonna get it tonight or whatever. So it's like, but it just builds up and it just makes a fun experience out of the whole thing. And sometimes you don't even have to joke about sex to do that. You just have a really fun time with her and maybe go to like a bunch of different locations and just have a fun date. um and when that happens, it's like your just connection with her builds and builds and builds and builds and builds until finally, when the moment's right and the opportunity is right and the situation's right, that's when it really leads to sex. Some other things to note: if it's like not just a setup situation, it's like the actual sex. Sometimes it's like if you get in routines with sex as well. So yeah, in that routine versus just kind of a side note on that, in the routine versus kind of variety thing, what you'll find is that like certainty and like the routine kind of thing, that really thrives with like family life. It really supports that. But the uncertainty aspect, the doing things spontaneous, sometimes dangerous, sometimes breaking the rules, sometimes that really creates the most desire for each other. And so just know to really implement that. And don't get caught up in, oh, every Friday night we go to the same dinner place kind of deal. It's like you want to surprise her sometimes. And then the same thing with in sex as well. It's like you don't just want to get caught up in this routine. It's like, oh, well, we kiss and then I go down on her and then she goes down on me and then we have sex in this position and then that's it. And then we're done. And then it's like we lie each other for like 15 minutes and then we go and do our own thing. It's like you can't get caught up in that certainty routine. It's like you have to sometimes mix it up. And act how you want to feel in a particular moment. Sometimes that entails like light scratching on her, just kind of exploring her body, maybe licking her boobs or licking her stomach, going down her stomach. Just sometimes mix it up. Don't overdo that for sure. Sometimes like biting her lip, sometimes sucking on her lip. But the point is to do whatever you want. And sometimes it's useful to take the lead if you are in that masculine role. That is what you want to do. So it's like, in order for her to be really vulnerable with you, she must trust that you're strong and masculine. And then you get that masculine feminine dynamic that really creates that desire moment in sex. And so sometimes that's like you telling her what to do or where to go, but just taking charge in that moment of sex. And then know what you're doing too. So sometimes communicate can help. as far as like telling her what specifically to do, where to look. Yeah, and I'd say just more about really creating that sense of desire. And what's probably going to do that the most is to mix things up, to maybe tell her, kind of maintain that sense of mystery. So tell her, like, hey, just show up at this location or be ready. I'm going to pick you up here. And then she's trying to get, like, figure out what's going on. And she's like, well, that's for me to know and you to find out. And so you leave that mystery sense. That creates a little bit more desire. Then you take the effort to really take her out and just have a really fun time on something that you haven't done in a while. And really what that does is it reignites that spark. So those are just really a few ideas. I go in more depth, some more in like the strategies of what to do during sex, and then just a lot of other things, basically step by step on the whole entire process, how to make her feel. And so sometimes it's like another problem that you'll find in those products is, that you can solve by those products is sometimes she's not really sexually open because you're not either masculine or she's not getting her needs fulfilled in a way that she that she needs. And so it really just outlines what she needs to feel, why she tests. Sometimes you're not passing her tests, and so she's kind of like distant or guarded towards you, and that can cause problems in your sexual relationship as well. So it's all there. Get those products below. You can get the fundamentals in the description as well as everything else. Everything else is a paid, takes you through that click funnel, and then it'll really just give you that foundation and then that basically step-by-step process to implement that you can immediately use in your own relationship to really turn it around. I'll see you soon.